Welcome to the Massillon City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. We have in attendance with us tonight the following city officials. Diane, would you do roll call?
Mayor Kathy Kazazaro-Perry.
Good evening.
Safety Service Director Barb Sylvester.
Present.
Auditor Jane Ferrero. Chief Deputy Auditor Debbie Bonk. Law Director Justin Richard.
Here.
Chief Counsel Bill Bartos.
Here.
Chief Engineer David Kroc. Jason O'Pill.
Yeah, I'm here.
Community Development Director Samantha Walters.
Here.
Economic Development Director David Mealy.
Present.
Parks and Rec Director Steve Pedro. Parks and Rec Superintendent Joe Pate. Golf Course Director Carrie Lowry. Treasurer Mark Slagle. Police Chief Keith Mosier. Fire Chief Tom Bergasser. Income Tax Budget Director Lori Katagides Boron. Let's see. That's usually all that's present, so if there's anyone I missed, could you speak up, please?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Under number 5 on the agenda is where the public can speak on any item that appears on tonight's agenda. And then again, under number 17 is where the public can speak on any item that does not appear on tonight's agenda. Roll call.
Kramer.
Present.
Gregg.
Present.
Halter.
Here.
Ernkane.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Littman.
Here.
Lombardi.
Here.
Starrett.
Here.
And Barrett.
Present.
Roll call of 9 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All present and accounted for. Councilwoman Creamer.
Thank you, Madam President. Can you please stand and join me in the Lord's Prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Creamer. Madam Clerk, are the minutes of the previous meeting transcribed and open for public viewing?
Yes, they are.
Are there any corrections or additions to be made?
No, there are not.
Then the minutes stand approved as written. We're on number 5, where any person from the community can speak on any topic that does appear on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please state your name, address, topic you wish to discuss, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And if someone starts to talk, please wait your turn and then you can go next. Hearing none, we'll move into new and miscellaneous business. I have a couple things I'd like to address. Councilman Lombardi, do you have an update on whether or not we've ordered the equipment or anything yet? Councilman Lombardi, you're muted.
No, nobody has given me any guidance as to what to do as far as ordering anything, I'm more than happy to do it, but nobody's told me to go ahead and do so. I wasn't sure where that, where that authority lied, actually.
Okay, I thought at our last meeting, we talked about you going ahead and ordering it. They said that I could direct you to do so. Am I incorrect on that?
Madam President, this is Linda Littman.
Yes, Councilwoman Littman.
That was my understanding of our conversation in work session as well.
Anyone else? Then, Mark, you have the authority to go ahead and order what's needed so we can get back into council chambers.
Okay, the only other thing that was left up in the air though at that point was you were gonna talk to Terry Argent to see if we needed to get the extra laptop so that there were 11 people. That's where I thought this was left at.
We're still not able to get in there with more than 10.
All right, so I'll go ahead and,
All right, thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilwoman Littman.
thank you. I do have an update on our recent conversation on our DORA, the designated outdoor refreshment area.
Okay.
And I was not sure if this is where you would want us to have that conversation.
You go
or-
right ahead.
Okay. Well, I did want to update everyone that as we spoke in work session, Worcester, the city of Worcester has implemented their designated outdoor refreshment area. I was able to have a conversation and quite lengthy conversation with a Shannon Waller. She is the Main Street Worcester executive. She provided me with their application, their cup design, how they went about coordinating the various entities to assist in getting this designated outdoor refreshment area into the application format. They are very, very excited about starting their designated outdoor refreshment area. As you may or may not know, that's a municipality that has about a little over 26,000 residents. They have a vibrant downtown that is improving as they are very similar to Massillon, extending their streetscape projects to include an amphitheater downtown, the revitalization of their square, etc. There is a lot of good information that they provided to me that I passed along to our chief counsel, Bill Bartos. I have asked him to review that information and perhaps take a couple minutes in this evening's meeting to discuss just in generalities the process that they went through. And I guess I'm choosing now rather than waiting for a work session to have this discussion, because I think we need to get this implemented more sooner than later. They have started their project back in April, May. They have spent several months getting their surveys together, getting their project underway, getting the application completed through council, etc. And the reason I think we should begin this more sooner than later is because we might be looking at 5 or 6 months down the road before this process can be completed. I know we're going to be running up against cold weather, but I really think that once we get this underway, we may be looking at February, March of next year before this can be completed and we can begin our DORA. I know that in our last work session, it appeared that we had the majority of council who was in favor of collecting more information, getting the process more detailed, budgeting, who would be included in that, how would we go about doing it. So I thought hearing what Worcester has done would be very beneficial for us to then decide. And I will say, as a community, and I'm talking Main Street, Massillon. I'm talking the Chamber of Commerce in Massillon. I'm talking Massillon City, as well as our council working together to try to get this implemented in our city. I have had a couple of conversations, one with Debbie Busby, who is our new chamber president. She is very much in favor of sitting down and having a conversation, trying to detail how they can be involved, what they can be doing to assist in this measure. I've also had a conversation with the regional external affairs representative of First Energy. They are very excited about helping us with cost associated with this this endeavor, if we should so choose to continue down this path. So I would ask if Mr. Bartos would take just a few minutes of our council's time this evening and review just the process that Worcester went through to get this accomplished. They do have their first Dora Day on September 11th. So again, once we have this conversation, if anyone would like to speak to Shannon or even be present at their opening or their rollout of the Dora, she has invited us to be a part of that with them. So with that, I will ask Bill if he would take just a few minutes and talk about some of the documentation that Shannon provided to us.
Madam President, point of order. Madam President.
Sorry, I muted myself so I didn't get backlash. Go ahead, Councilman Lewis.
I was just going to say that we have a process, and that is things like this go through committee, and to subvert that would subvert the entire process that everything goes to. So it's more appropriate that this be handled during a committee meeting, regardless of timeliness. I mean, we don't even know if the committee chair is aware of any of this information yet, and we don't know what the committee is going to put before council. So anything that would be discussed tonight may be irrelevant if the committee doesn't decide to come forward with the same information.
I will just mention that Megan was in agreement to, as well as the council. That's why I went to council last committee and just asked, is this something that we can move forward with in collecting information? I'm not suggesting that we do anything out of order. All I'm suggesting is that we get information that we could then decide, do we go further? Knowing what Worcester has done, is this something that, again, we want to move forward with in doing at this point, or should we put it to bed?
Councilwoman Starrett.
Madam President, I guess I'm in agreement with Mr. Lewis a little bit. This is kind of off agenda at this point, and we're getting a little close to almost voting in a way, saying, is everybody interested in pursuing this further? I think maybe we should probably present this more at a work session with legislation to try to move forward with it. I think that might be a more appropriate way, and then have the presentation happen at the work session with possible legislation to get the ball rolling. But Madam President, it's up to you in the long run of your meeting.
Well, I would be okay with that as well. I just wanted to try to get the information to you, to council, as soon as I had had those conversations.
Thank you, Councilwoman Littman. Thank you, Councilwoman Starrett. We will defer to our next committee meeting if that's how you want to do that. Okay on that?
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we had talked about council ordinances or council rules, and some people had some changes that they would like to have done. Diane would like those into her, by when, Diane?
No later than the next regular council meeting, because all codified changes has to be turned into the drain company next month.
So anyone that has anything, get those into Diane by 2 weeks from today.
I would say by September 14th work session.
No, to clarify though, changes to the rules of council have to be a legislation request that's passed by council. So we can't possibly get them by the next meeting because we'd have to vote on them at the next meeting.
Well, I usually send all the changes with the exhibits or whatever has taken place. Like I said, when I sent out the council rules last week, the changes that we made for the he, she, them, their, those changes, they have not been implicated yet in the new replacement pages because they have not been sent to drain. So I would say no later than the October 5th or 19th meeting, because like I said, I send all that information to them. They update everything and send it back to us in November.
October
August-
5th?
I'm sorry?
Did you say October 5th?
Yeah, between October 5th and the 19th, because I know a couple of years ago, we ran into this situation with the income tax. And they did upgrade it for us like 2 or 3 months after that because I think it went all 3 readings. But this is very important because when they upgrade our replacement pages for our book, they also upgrade the website. So we don't want one version to be on the website and then I have another version in my book.
Councilman
But
Lewis?
to be clear, you have the changes already that moved miscellaneous business up in front of the ordinances, and which is the section we're in right now of the agenda, and you also have the changes for the he and she to more gender neutral language. You already have those changes, correct?
I don't, they won't go in until, like I said, in October.
But you have them
They-
in your possession
Yes.
to give to drain.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So any future changes we make, if they are not voted on and made by council prior to October 5th, they may not be fully reflected in
On the website,
in all our mediums.
correct.
Okay.
Which means you need them by when? So they can be voted on by next Monday?
I could say October 19th would be the absolute hard date. Because they do them every November.
But if they went 3 readings, wouldn't that be awfully late?
Well, like I said, the absolute hard date is October 19th. However many readings you want to go, however way you want to handle it, that is the absolute cutoff date, October 19th.
Then I recommend we do it prior to then, just so Diane has them in her hands and she's not, rushing around to get it done. Councilman,
I would say the request for legislation would have to be in the 14th or the 28th of September for work session. Request for legislation to make the changes. And it's up to council when they vote on them, or how many readings they want them to go. But the request for legislation hard date is September 28th. The ordinance hard date is October 19th.
request for legislation by when?
September 28th.
Okay, I thought you just said September 14th.
There's a meeting the 14th and there's a meeting the 28th. Those are the two work sessions in September.
Okay,
And then the 2 council meetings in October, the absolute hard date is October 19th.
okay. Councilman Gregg, did you have something?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Madam President. My question is, sounds like we're talking about council rule changes, and shouldn't that go through the Rules Committee?
Yes.
So instead of just for process sake, should those changes go directly to Diane, or should they come through me as chairman of the committee?
No, they would have to go through you because they would go
Okay.
through your committee.
So are you collecting any changes and then forwarding them to me, or
I have not
should they be
received
sent
any.
directly to me?
I have not received anything to date, and it would have to be in the form of a request for legislation anyway.
Madam President,
Councilwoman Littman?
I have been in conversation with, or communication with Justin Richard. So I've asked him to review a few of the council rules as well, so that if it's something that we can further edit or clarify, as we are attempting to do with Rule 56, that it can be done in the same manner. So I have not provided that to Mr. Gregg, but I have communicated that to Mr. Richard and hope to have a conversation with him, this week or so that we could get something to Mr. Gregg if that's the route we're going.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. The next thing I'd like to talk about is just putting it out there because I'm sure you all got the email from Diane that the Planning Commission is tomorrow at 4:30 for the property up here on the corner of Hills and Dales and Wales. And the last thing I'd like to throw out, I had talked to someone about these street signs. They're blue, royal blue and white, I think. They have them in Perry and Jackson, and I did some research on that, and they are through the fire department. And I think people can purchase them for $10. And they're Perry and Jackson were anxious to get them out because their emergency services could see the address very quickly because they really stand out. So if you haven't seen them, you might want to drive through Jackson or Perry and just take note of that. Does anyone else have anything? Seeing none, we'll move into introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 81, 2020.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to accept an AFG grant, EMW 2020 FG 01177 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, on behalf of the Massillon Fire Department and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Littman.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, this is a request for legislation to accept an $18,000 grant. And I know I may have caused some confusion in our work session last week. This is a separate grant request from our prior one that I was speaking of. This is for the purchase of PPE equipment. We were given a list of the protective coveralls, the gloves that would be purchased, isolation gowns, respirators, and eye protection. So I will ask, is there any questions or concerns that anyone might have regarding this request for legislation? Regarding this ordinance, excuse me.
Councilman Lombardi.
Yes, thank you, President Eisner. Mrs. Littman, how much money do the city taxpayers have to put in to get this grant?
The total that the city would contribute would be $1,668.43.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Littman.
Yeah, we do have Chief Burgasser here. If anyone needs any further clarification or questions answered. Seeing none, I'd like to request that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings for ordinance number 81-2020 and vote this evening.
Seconded by Councilman Barrett. Roll call for suspension.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Yes.
Lewis. Littman.
Yes.
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
and Creamer.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension for ordinance number 81-2020.
And for passage.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Gregg.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 81, 2020 has passed. Ordinance number 82, 2020.
An ordinance to approve the vacation of a 20-foot wide storm drainage easement on outlot number 997. The site is located on the south side of Business Place Southeast, east of Richville Drive.
Councilman Barrett?
Thank you, Madam President. This we talked about last night. This is just from the engineer's department. And if you have any questions, I know Jason Popeil's on the call to answer them.
Councilman Fontaine?
Good.
Thank you, Madam President. I am going to recuse myself from this matter. I have a conflict of interest. The company that I work for performed the work on this easement and this legislation request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Councilman Barrett?
Well, seeing no other questions, I make a motion that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 82 forward for a vote.
Seconded by?
Creamer.
Roll call for suspension?
Kern Kane,
Abstain.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Halter. Yes. 8 yes, 1 abstain, 4 suspension.
And for passage?
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. And Hernkane.
Abstain.
8 yes, 1 abstention for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 82, 2020 has passed. Ordinance number 83, 2020.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1203 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Program Fund for year 2020, 2021, for the year ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this is an appropriation related to the additional monies that we've received in CDBG because of COVID-19. It will go towards some housing rehabilitation support within the community. And it'll also go to the COVID-19 business loan program that we approved of, I believe, a little over a month ago. Are there any questions or discussion this evening?
Councilman Hernkane?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to recuse myself from this matter as well, as I have a conflict with a relative of mine who is employed by one of the recipients of funds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Lewis?
Yes, I make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 83-2020 forward for a vote.
Seconded by?
Councilwoman Sarah?
Roll call for suspension?
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. Hernkane,
Abstain.
and Lewis.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 abstention for suspension.
And for passage?
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Abstain.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 abstention for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 83, 2020 has passed. Ordinance number 84, 2020.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of 1100 General Fund for the Massillon Fire Department for the year ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this appropriation is for $16,884.27. Did we say that Chief Burgesser is in on the call?
He did not answer when I called his name.
Okay, I believe this is just related to the previous grant that we accepted and the appropriation for the purchase of those goods. Does anyone else have any other questions or discussion this evening? Seeing none, I make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 84-2020 forward for a vote.
Seconded by
Councilman Gregg,
roll call for suspension.
Starrett?
Yeah.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
yes.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
and Lombardi.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
and Starrett.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 84, 2020 has passed. Ordinance number 85, 2020.
An ordinance reducing the appropriations of the 1212 Summer Concert Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this is a reduction in the appropriations by $79,906.33. This is due to us not being able to have the summer concert series this year. Are there any questions or discussion this evening?
Councilwoman Littman?
Thank you, Madam President. My question is, as we are unappropriating appropriated funds, I just wanted to confirm that those dollars then go back into the general fund and not carry forward to a new concert year?
We would have to verify with the auditor, but I don't believe so. I believe they would go back into the 1212 where they originally were deposited into. So the 1212 Summer Concert Series Fund.
Anyone else? Councilman Lewis?
I make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bring ordinance number 85-2020 forward for a vote.
Seconded by
Councilwoman Starrett?
roll call for suspension.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
and Barrett.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter. Yes. Kane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett, Barrett,
Yes.
and Creamer.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 85, 2020 has passed. Ordinance number 86, 2020.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Massillon, Ohio, to submit applications for funding to the Ohio Public Works Commission for the funding year 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this is in reference to going out to see if we can receive dollars for Lincoln Way Streetscape Phase 3 and then Warmington Road improvements. as we get prepared to discuss this evening, I do want to ask the administration and the engineer's office if we could please have an update at the next work session, so next Monday, as to the progress on phase one's punch list. I believe that's all that's been discussed left. In particular, I did have one citizen reach out to me, and they had some questions regarding the studded brickwork around the pressed curbs and the corners, wondering if they were actually ADA compliant due to their pattern. So just something for you guys to look at, but I know a lot of people also have questions about the punch list and when those small parts are going to be completed. And if we could have an update next week, that'd be great. With that said, does anyone have questions related to Lincoln Way Streetscape Phase 3 or Warmington Road improvements?
Councilman Barrett?
Yeah, I have a question. Why are these two lumped together?
Oh, yeah, we're submitting two separate applications, Mr. Therato, PwC. Both are due at the same time, so we just put them together for both require permission from council to apply.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Hurricane?
Thank you, Madam President. I would make a motion that we amend ordinance number 08Sept20 to remove Lincoln Way Streetscape Phase 3. I would ask that it be resubmitted as a separate legislation request, and they be considered separate.
Do you have a second?
Lombardi, I'll second it.
Madam President,
Councilman Lewis?
if it would please Hurricane and Lombardi, it may be easier just to make a motion to divide the question.
Is there that big of a difference as to which route they go?
Well, if they amend it removing one, then we have to wait 2 weeks. If we divide the question, we can vote on both tonight individually.
Councilman Hurricane, it's up to you.
I would accept the motion. I can amend my motion, but I'm okay with a motion to divide if you want me to restate it, or
Please.
I make a motion that we divide the question regarding ordinance number 86/2020.
Seconded by Councilman.
Lombardi,
Thank you. Roll call for division.
Halter,
No.
Kane,
Yes.
Lewis,
No.
Littman,
No.
Lombardi,
yes.
Starrett,
No.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Gregg.
No.
Five no. 4 yes to divide the question on ordinance 86-2020.
So it has failed. Councilman
Yes.
Lewis?
Any other discussion this evening?
Woman Creamer?
Thank you. I just need additional information regarding the streetscape, the Imagine Downtown project from administration. I know initially what was discussed and what was shown to us was phase 1, and then we saw phase 2, and now we're seeing phase 3. Are there any additional phases after phase 3? I guess I need to know the scope of the project because the initial request, I don't think we had the entire scope of the project. So for me to better understand exactly what this project entails and vote on it moving forward, I would appreciate additional information.
Sure, I'd be happy to answer that question for you. This is phase 3, and it's to include that one section down by First Street Southwest that needs to be completed, and then also up to 4th Street. 4th Street is the historic 4th Street in the city of Massillon. So we wanted to include that to really bring people to 4th Street and then bring them downtown. If there are additional phases, Mrs. Kramer, we would like to work on Erie Street South and then Erie Street North. I don't know that we'll call it Imagine Downtown Massillon on that part of it, but those are areas that we like to work on, as well as Diamond Court and then Charles. So we really want to clean up that whole area downtown. And that is really our focus. And so again, I don't know that we'll continue to add those phases as part of the Imagine Downtown Massillon, but those, just so you know, where our thought process is, we really want to clean all that up downtown. In that area might be a little more difficult because of the vaults that are underneath the street, the roadway. Potential vaults, I should say.
Anyone else? Councilman Lewis? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Barrett?
Well, the question that I have is the question I've been asked, I do not know how many times in recent history. When are we going to finish phase 1 of this? And let alone
on that
2 and 3.
there.
Excuse me?
We're working on that right now. We have a punch list, and the company, we had a conversation with the company, and they came downtown, they looked at our punch list, and they've begun to work on it. So we hope to have that completed very soon.
Councilman Lombardi?
Thank you, President Eisnick. I have a little bit of a problem moving forward with Streetscape Phase 3 when we just broke ground on Phase 2. And we haven't addressed things that our citizens have really been requesting, such as traffic control, animal control, the reservoir, and it seems like it's being buried under all of this Imagine Massillon. And I believe we need to start addressing our citizens' concerns as well first.
Anyone else?
President,
Councilman Lewis?
my question's towards Mr. Popeil. Can you take us through the application process? Because what this is tonight is an application to OPWC, Ohio Public Works, to get funding from them for a project that will occur in the future. Can you take us through the application process and the timelines, where if you apply, how long we could anticipate waiting, deadlines, things like that?
Yeah, I'll try to brief you as quickly as I can. Well, this year's a little different because of COVID. But the application this year is due mid-October. I think it's October 12th or somewhere around there. Once submitted, all projects are scored against each other, and the funds that the state has available to our district are distributed according to the highest first, and they go down until they run out of money. And so the higher you score, the better chance you have of getting the funds you requested. You will not know if you're funded or not until the winter time. It's usually in December, but this year it may be later because, again, everything is delayed a little bit. Once you are awarded, you have until spring to commit to the project, and then you're not allowed to start until July. So applying and accepting are two different things. We can apply and then decline if something comes up where the money wasn't correct. We didn't have the correct money allocated. Applying is the first step, and then once we're awarded, we can accept it at that point. But that won't be till winter.
And to further that line of questioning, Mr. Popeil, the next open phase for applying for these funds wouldn't be until this time next year. Would that be accurate?
Assuming COVID's gone, it'll probably be September of next year.
So if we don't apply now, we have to wait an entire year to even apply for funding, regardless if we want to move forward with the project.
That is correct.
Councilwoman Kramer?
Yes, I have written down in my notes that the Warmington Road improvements is a little under $1.4 million. But the Streetscape Phase 3, I don't have a dollar figure. If we're going to request funds, how much are we requesting for that project?
Well, I'm still working on the application. We don't have a completed estimate yet. And when we get an estimate, we try to balance the amount we ask for with the points we're going to be awarded. We don't want to ask for too much and not be awarded anything. So once I get the estimate and the application together, we self-score and determine at that point what is a good balance between what our match is and what we should ask for.
So you'll have that determined before you submit the application in October?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have to make sure we know where our funds are coming from and how much we're going to commit.
I guess that's my difficulty, is not having this presented in front of me and not having a dollar amount attached to it at this time is difficult for me at this point. Thank you.
Madam,
Martin?
Thank you, Madam President. Is the phase 3, is there a design for streetscape phase 3?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Jason, is there a design that's going to be submitted for phase 3?
Yes, that'll be designed in-house.
But it hasn't been designed yet. It would be designed upon approval of this.
Right.
Okay, and we don't have, I don't want to ask the same question, but we don't have a current cost estimate. Would we know that cost estimate before you applied?
Yeah, it would have to be completed for applying. Again, this is just what this resolution or this ordinance is to permission to apply. This is not permission to accept any funds yet or commit to any money. This is just the application part.
All right. And do we ask for a dollar amount when we apply?
Yes. So we ask for the dollar amount, and we also ask whether we want it in the form of a loan or a grant.
Okay. And do we know the dollar amount yet or no?
Not for Lincoln Way.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Madam President,
Councilman Lewis?
given the line of questions tonight, I do think there are some questions that we need answered. And we do have an October deadline, so we do have another meeting between then and now. So I would recommend we just go ahead and give this first reading.
Thank you. Ordinance number 86, 2020 has received first reading. Ordinance number 87, 2020.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety on behalf of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into a contract without formal bidding and advertising for all work, supplies, and materials required for the installation of auto faucets and auto flush fixtures in all city-owned and/or operated restrooms in accordance with Section 735.051 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Ordinance number 87, 2020. Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this is something that we briefly spoke to or may have had mentioned by the auditor of the city. She had the idea of using some of the COVID dollars that we've received to the purpose of updating some of the restroom facilities throughout the city so that they were hands-free, flush, and sinks. My first question would go to, I believe, Mr. Bartos, that since this exceeds the $50,000 and it looks like there will be no bid process, can you explain to us the legality of how that is going to be permitted?
Madam President?
Yes, please.
Yes. So the referenced section of the ORC 735.051 deals with emergency conditions that obviate formal bidding and advertising for contracts. And so basically what it's a fancy way of saying that in the case of, emergency situations like we face with the COVID pandemic, the city council can vote, and it is a 2/3 majority vote that is required, which is referenced in, I believe, Section 3 of the ordinance, or perhaps Section 2. Anyway, it's a 2/3 vote, and if city council decides to authorize the contract to move forward without the formal bidding and advertising requirements, the safety and service director could move forward, given the time constraints that are apparent not only with the spending of the coronavirus relief fund funds, October 15th deadline coming up very quickly, but also the emergency situation that exists with the current pandemic. And so that would be the authorization that the council would be giving the safety service director to move ahead with contracting without the need to advertise and bid as would be traditionally done when the $50,000 bid threshold is exceeded.
Councilman Lewis,
Are there any questions from council members related to this?
Councilwoman Kramer.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So there was a dollar amount that I heard. I didn't see any dollar amounts in my packages. Did I overlook something?
Yeah, I believe in the ordinance, it says the cost of the installation estimated at approximately $88,000.
Okay.
It would be the fourth paragraph down.
Okay, thank you. I've got additional questions, but I can wait for Mrs. Littman.
Councilwoman Littman.
Thank you, Madam President. My question would be, what process would be used if we're not going to use the formal bidding and advertising process? How would the contractor be chosen?
Can someone answer that, please?
I can answer that. Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, please, Barb.
Okay. Yes, and as it was explained to you, I have been working with the law department. I do actually already have 2 proposals, and so we will, and that's how the dollar amount is there is $88,000. We would select the lowest and best bidder from the proposals we were given.
Councilwoman Kramer.
Yes, can someone please tell me how many auto faucets and how many auto flushes we will be purchasing throughout the city? And what buildings? It says all city owned, so are you also putting them in the parks and the restrooms in the parks, in the park and rec department, along with the municipal buildings?
Yes, we will. There will be a total of 124 touchless faucets, 176 touchless flush, and we will also be installing soap dispensers, touchless. We are working with Gojo, and they may be donating those to the city. It will include every single building, the Justice Building, which is all of the courts, and every department that's in that building, the police department, wastewater department, all fire stations, the administration's building, street department, and all of the parks.
Go ahead, Councilman Kramer.
So are these battery operated or are these hardwired?
They're battery operated.
So if a battery dies at one of these faucets or flushes, is that citizen able to perform hand cleansing without that auto faucet? Because that's my concern, or how are these going to be overseen? I mean, we have people, trying to oversee buildings and parks and restrooms now, and, things get overlooked at times. But if we're going to change a faucet to a battery operated faucet and that battery dies and that person cannot wash their hands, that's where I kind of have a concern. And who do they call? How do we know that the battery has died at one of these dispensers, faucets, flushes? I mean, I'm just trying to get a handle on it because, yeah, I see this is money given to us. Let's use it. But down the road, there's upkeep to things that may cost us more money and manpower overseeing something we're given for free. Can you please
There
answer
is
that?
ongoing, I sure can. There's ongoing maintenance every day in every building, in every department, especially in some of our buildings that we have a lot of old fixtures in our buildings. So there are times when, yes, those soap dispensers now don't work that are manual, toilets don't flush, and faucets, we also have problems with those. We do have maintenance people for each and every facility, and we also do contract out with other plumbers if we need to on an ongoing basis. So ongoing maintenance will not be any different than maintenance that we have day to day right now.
Councilwoman Littman?
Yes, my question kind of stems from that as well. Will there be any antibacterial dispensers as a, let's say, a secondary? If a faucet is not working, will there be antibacterial available to that patron as well?
We have hand sanitizing stations, fixtures that are attached in all of our buildings at the present time. As you may have seen when you were in council chambers, they were in that building.
So in the event that something would not work or there'd be a malfunction, they would also have the option to use the hand sanitizer as a plan B.
Yes, they do.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Lewis?
I make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 87-2020 forward for a vote.
Seconded by?
Megan,
Roll call for suspension?
Kern Kane, Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Halter.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage?
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
and Hernkane.
Yes.
8 yes for passage. I'm sorry, I'm writing the 8. 9 yes for passage.
Thank you. Ordinance number 87-2020 has passed. Resolution number 12-2020.
A resolution declaring the intent of the city of Massillon to appropriate property within its corporate limits pursuant to Chapter 719 of the Ohio Revised Code for the purpose of acquiring temporary easements necessary for construction of the Wells Road Widening Project, STA SR-241 09.71, PID number 100471, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Councilman Farrett? You're muted. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. We discussed this, I believe, a week or so ago, and the engineers let us know that there are still a few properties out there that haven't gotten any response from. So I believe this package includes those where they start the process. If Jason would like to address that.
Mr. Popeil?
Yeah, this is more Mr. Bartos's cup of tea here.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Yes, I'll be happy to take that. As the chairman mentioned, we discussed this last week, and yes, this is the resolution that will allow us to declares our intent to appropriate and allows us to move forward with the next steps of the process. As I spoke with Mr. Popeil earlier, I know there were some questions about, what is the process that we go through, prior to getting here, and it's, being that this is a joint project with ODOT, we go through an ODOT process of, notifying and contacting each parcel owner, and that involves at least 2 certified mailers to each owner, as well as 1 in-person meeting, or at least attempted meeting with each owner. So at least 3 contacts or attempted contacts are made with each property owner prior to reaching this point. If you look at the parcels that are on our list, we have 3 instances where an owner is either deceased, or in the case of an entity, one no longer exists. 13 are situations where the owner is just not responding, and or their legal counsel is not responding if their attorney perhaps got involved. And we do have one that at least one we're hopeful will be able to get resolved prior to having to file the petition to appropriate. So hopefully more will get resolved before then. There is a notice that will go out after this is passed that you'll see in section 3 that it will come from the mayor per chapter 719. A notice of the passage of this resolution will be sent out, and that'll be the final notice prior to moving forward with the petition to appropriate, which is a fancy way of saying the initiation of the eminent domain process.
Councilman Barrett?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Mr. Bartos. Is there any other questions involving this at this point? I'm looking for it here. Seeing none, I'd make a motion that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and move resolution forward for vote.
Second by
Creamer.
call for suspension.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution 12-2020 has passed. Resolution number 13-2020. Is there a question out there? Okay, resolution number 13-2020.
A resolution authorizing the sale during calendar year 2020 of city-owned motor vehicles and pieces of related equipment which are not needed for public use or obsolete or unfit for the use for which they were acquired by internet auction and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this pretty standard for us. We've done this in the past, where we've authorized them to be able to unload any vehicles that we may have that are no longer needed by the city. I would like to ask the question of Barb Sylvester, please.
Ms. Sylvester?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a list of vehicles? Did I not see that? Did I miss that?
A list of vehicles at the present time that we want to go out to auction for.
Yes.
Yes, I do. I've gotten with the departments to send me any vehicles that they have.
Would you
have,
be able to distribute that to council members?
Yes, I can.
I just think that's some information that members of council would like to see. I'll leave it open to questions still, but after anyone has any questions that they may want to ask, I'll probably just give first reading.
Councilman Lombardi?
Thank you, President Eisner. What happens to these funds that we take in from these? Do these just go into the general fund, or do they go back into a fund to fund more vehicles and what have you?
Well, I have been working with the auditor's department on that, and once we get the approval from council to go out there and do this, then we will go back and go to our fixed asset listing and see exactly which account the assets that were purchased, what account they were purchased from, and then they will be reimbursed back into those accounts. So we will pull the titles for the vehicles, once, if we are given approval to go out and do this, and then I will work with the auditor's office and we will go out and look at which account they came out of, whether they were purchased out of the 1100 general fund, the 1401, were they purchased out of the 1201 account for streets, and then we will put the revenue back into the appropriate accounts and reimburse them that way.
Councilman Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. Noticed in the legislation language here that says vehicles and some equipment. Could you include whatever articles that you have intended for sale in that list, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Sylvester? Councilman Lewis?
First reading.
Thank you. Resolution number 13, 2020 has received first reading. Madam Clerk, is there any unfinished business?
No, there's not.
Are there any petitions and general communications?
Yes, we have a request for a transfer of a liquor license from Thomas N. Babari Jr., Estate, Deanna Ballman, Executor, doing business as Tommy B's Diamond Nightclub, 1234 6th Street Southwest, first floor only, Massillon, Ohio, 44646. To Deanna Babari Ballman, doing business as Tommy B's Diamond Nightclub, 1234 6th Street Southwest, first floor only, Massillon, Ohio, 44646. Permit class is D5 and located in Ward 5. And it has been brought to my attention that zip code should be 44647, which is an error on the part of the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. Because somehow or another, this got lost in the mail and they actually emailed it to me because it was returned to them. So that should be Massillon, Ohio, 44647.
Does anything have to be done to change that, or it's just,
I will give them a call tomorrow.
Thank you. Did Councilwoman Sterrett receive a copy?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any bills, accounts, and claims?
Yes, we have our WebEx bill in the amount of $15.92 for our September subscription renewal.
Councilman Lewis?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Seconded by?
Councilwoman Sterrett.
Roll call?
Sterrett?
Yes.
Sterrett?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Halter?
Yes.
Hearn Kane?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Littman?
Yes.
And Lombardi.
Yes.
9 yes to pay the bills.
Thank you. The clerk will pay the bills and charge them to their proper accounts. Are there any reports from city officials?
Yes, we have the treasurer's report for July 2020 and the mayor's report for July 2020.
Thank you. The treasurer's report and the mayor's report have been accepted. Are there any reports of committees? Our next meeting will be a work session on Monday, September 14th, 2020 at 6:30. Okay. Are there any resolutions or requests of council members? Call of the calendar, seeing none. Third reading ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 74, 2020.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1203 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG Program Fund, fiscal year 2020-2021 for the year ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis,
I open this up to any questions or discussion by members of council.
Councilman Hernkame,
Madam President, thank you. I will recuse myself from this matter for the same reason I did regarding a relative of my family and funds going to a place of their employment. Thank you.
anyone else? Councilman Lewis,
I make a motion that we bring ordinance number 74-2020 forward.
seconded by, oh, don't need a second.
We do need a second.
Third reading, seconded by,
Councilman Gregg,
roll call.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Abstain.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Starrett, I'm sorry,
Yes.
and Barrett.
Yes.
Okay, so I have 8 yes, 1 abstention for the passage of ordinance number 74, 2020.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 74, 2020 has passed. There are no second reading ordinances and resolutions. We're at number 17 on the agenda, where anyone present or on our call can speak on any topic that did not appear on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please state your name, address, and topic you wish to discuss.
Council President, this is Samantha Walters. I just wanted to add one thing real quick if I could.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention to Councilwoman Creamer and Littman, I did not forget about your request for a listing of Start Crush's mobile grocery market stops. My office has reached out via phone and email to Start Crush, and we haven't gotten a response yet. But that's fairly typical for them as they have a very small staff and they don't operate traditional office hours, especially during the growing season. But I will email the information to both council members as soon as I receive a response.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you, Samantha.
Okay, back to anyone wishing to talk on any topic that did not appear on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please state your name, address, and topic you wish to discuss. Hearing none, Councilwoman Creamer,
I make a motion to adjourn.
seconded by,
Linda Littman.
meeting adjourned.